bankruptcy judge looked at me and said, "Mr. Ginsberg, I understand your client needs to have a vehicle, but I'm not going to approve a Mercedes-Benz. Sorry, come back and try again." What can you take from all this? What does all this mean? Well, the situation was as follows. My client had been in a Chapter 13 for a couple of years and then was involved in an automobile accident where he totaled his car. And under Chapter 13, there's a procedure where you can apply for an outside loan, ask the court to approve financing so you can get another vehicle. And part of that application is you've got to reveal the information about the replacement vehicle you hope to get. And in my client's case, he had found a Mercedes. It was a used Mercedes. The cost was about $25,000, which is kind of an average cost vehicle. And he felt it was a good, reliable vehicle. He did some traveling and he wanted to get that approved. And I told him, I said, you know, the judge may not be all that thrilled about seeing a Mercedes, but we'll try. So I went in front of the judge, filed the motion, went in front of the judge, and she, again, her visceral reaction was, I'm not going to approve a Mercedes in a Chapter 13. Even though it wasn't a particularly fancy Mercedes, it was used, and the cost was no more than any other car that would have otherwise been approved pretty routinely. The monthly payment was pretty reasonable, less than $300 a month. So the main thing was the judge just had this reaction to the idea of allowing somebody to buy a Mercedes while in Chapter 13. And of course, not every judge would do that. But the point is that when you are in Chapter 13, you have to realize that when judges see and trustees see typically are people living in a very, very somewhat structured environment where there's not a lot of extras, there's not a lot of fluff, there's not a lot of luxuries. And so if you're asking for permission to purchase something, it needs to be really a need, not a want, and more utilitarian than luxury. And again, here we had a Mercedes, which I said was not a luxury Mercedes. It wasn't a S-Class, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 vehicle. This was a mid-level Mercedes sedan, but the fact that it was a Mercedes was enough to make the judge say, no, come back again with something else. And what we ended up doing was we got an order, which I drafted, that basically said that my client could purchase a vehicle at a certain amount of money per month. I think it was less than $300 a month. It could be any vehicle but not a Mercedes. And that was what she wanted, so that's what we gave her, and ended up getting a Toyota or Nissan or something like that. But my point is that when you're in bankruptcy, realize that judges are expecting you to live close to the vest, and you want to stay away from anything that even looks like luxury, anything that looks like you're living anything other than a basic level of existence. And then once you're out of bankruptcy, you can do what you want. But while in bankruptcy, that's sort of the attitude that judges and trustees have. And it's just important to know that if you're going into it, that sometimes you may have to make some difficult decisions, but the big picture typically in bankruptcy would be strong enough where you're able to get rid of debt or restructure debt, that if you have to change your lifestyle for a short period of time, it makes sense to go ahead and do that. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Again, I'm Jonathan Ginsberg, and if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and like it on Facebook. Subscribe to our channels. And if you have any questions about personal bankruptcy in the Atlanta area, please do not hesitate to call me. Thanks a lot.